Can you solve this problem before I do? FE practice problem number 18 wants us to find the resultant of three coplanar forces. So if you remember from class, in order to do this, we need to add up the x and y components of each of these forces. And then to find the magnitude, we will take the resultant x component and the resultant y component, square them, add them together, and take the square root. So first, let's find the x and y components of force A. So if we draw out the x and y component, we see we make a right triangle. We can also determine the angle that the force makes with the y-axis by subtracting 90 from 105, leaving us with 15 degrees. So from geometry, we can use SOHCAHTOA. We know the x component is going to be the sine of 15 degrees times the magnitude of the force, which is 5. So that's going to give us 1.29 newtons. And we also need to specify if this is a positive or negative value by establishing our coordinate system. So if we're going to the right of the origin, it's going to be positive. If we're going to the left of the origin, it's going to be negative. To find the y component of A, we know that's going to be the cosine of 15 degrees because it is adjacent to 15 degrees. So you're going to multiply the magnitude of the force by cosine of 15, and we're going to get 4.83 newtons. Again, we need to establish if this is a negative or positive value. If we're going up from the origin, it's going to be positive. If we're going down from the origin, it's going to be negative. So because we're going up, it's going to be a positive 4.83. All right, so moving on to force B. We know the x component is going to be 0 because it's not going to the right or left of the origin. So b of x is going to be 0. And b of y is just going to be 2.12 newtons because it's going straight up in the y direction. For force C, we are going directly to the right. So the C of x component is going to be 2.12 newtons, and we're not going up or down, so the C of y component is going to be 0 newtons. So now that we've broken out each of the forces into their x and y values, we're going to add up all the x components, so we have the resultant x, and then we're going to add up all the y components to find the resultant y. So the resultant x component is going to be negative 1.29 plus 2.12. Again, it's really important to make sure you have your signs correct so that you end up with the correct resultant force. So if you add those two values together, you're going to get 0.83 newtons. And for the resultant y component, we're going to add 4.83 newtons to 2.12 newtons, and we're going to get 6.95 newtons. Both of these are positive values, so the resultant force should be going up and to the right of the origin. So once you've found the x and y components of the resultant force, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find the magnitude. So we're going to take the square root of 0.83 squared plus 6.95 squared, which is about the square root of 49. So the magnitude of the resultant force is 7 newtons. How'd you do? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, follow for more FE civil practice problems.